Okay, so today we are going to learn some administration part in the Linux. So in the previous class we learned what exactly open source and how do we install the Linux operating system, like a desktop or server. What is the difference between those two? What are the architectures available? And then, so once installation is completed, so we were able to log into the machine, and then so we've gone through all the file systems available. So what are the file systems available, and each and every file system, so what type of files is stored, so where exactly we need to go. For example, if you need to change any configuration file and if you want to troubleshoot any kind of log files, so where we need to go. So we've gone through all those things. So today we will start the couple of commands so that you can understand what are the command line from the Linux point of view, and then so you will be familiar with the command line options. So once you log into that any kind of Linux machine from the PuTTY session, so this is the way it's going to look like terminal. So we already saw that in yesterday class. So go through that some of the commands. The first of things, so you can see if you want to see the which distribution, Linux distribution currently you are using. So you can use /proc or /version. This is the file. So we already gone through the /proc file system. So this is the virtual file system. So whenever you are accessing so this file system on the fly, you are going to get the information. So because the proc file system is the showing 0 bytes. So why? Because whenever you are getting the information from those file system on the fly, it will go into the talk to the kernel and get the information. So immediately it will wipe up that. It will show that in the kernel, like wherever you are exactly seeing in the terminal, it will display the entire information. The file will be cleared up. So that is the reason whenever you see the total the size of this proc file system, it will show you 0 bytes. So in the version, there is one file called version under /proc. You can get some information regarding what distribution it is. So let's see that from the command line, then you can understand. So let me get that terminal. So this is what terminal once you log into that machine. So the cat is the command if you want to see any kind of content on any file, only file, not directory. So if you want to see any content on the file, you have to use the command called cat. So then you need to provide full path of that file, where exactly the file is available. The slash is the main the partition, main root partition here. Under slash we have one proc file system. Under proc we have one file called the version. See, this is the entire the kernel information it is showing here, and this is the Ubuntu. Currently we are using the Ubuntu 14.043. That is the version it is showing here. So in this way you can get information. We have one more command called uname -a. So that is also will show the same type of information, kernel information, and as well as the distribution information kind of thing. Uname -r is going to show you only the kernel information, what exactly kernel is. If the kernel is hot of the Linux, so you, on top of kernel only, each and everything will be created. The next command would be, so for example, currently we have only one user. So that user we already logged into that. If you want to create any number of users into this the machine, so what you need to do is you can use the user add command or add user command. So nothing much different, the both of them. We can use any kind of command. So let's try the user add command and the one username. So we have a couple of options here. So if you use user add -T, it's going to view the default user add options here. Small g is going to provide, you need to provide the group information. -m, home directory is need to provide it. -m, inactive. So mostly this option we are not going to use in the normal administration here. Very rare cases to expect the password kind of thing. So if you are managing all these users from the active directories, for most of the companies they will use the LDAP or active directory kind of thing instead of internal user. So because if you have 1,000 machines, if you want to create all these users and everything from the normal way, so even deletion of all those users also very much difficult. So that is the reason people will go with the active directory or LDAP authentication kind of thing for these user administration. So whenever you want to reset the password, or you want to disable, or you want to add this user to any kind of group, that's very easy to manage. You just need to log into the active directory server or LDAP server and provide this type of administration. And the creation of users also, it's very easy. Automatically you are going to provide in this all these Linux machines, you will provide all this administration server information. It's like if you are using Active Directory, those server information will be attached to this Linux machines. It is going to sync whatever things you are managing from the Active Directory, all those things will be shared to these machines. So depends upon that administration, whatever you providing, what type of access you are providing on the LDAP or Active Directory, those type of access you can get from these machines. So for now we don't have any Active Directory or LDAP kind of thing. So we will see these are the simple commands how you are able to access any kind of the users. How do you create normal users in the Linux administration? Sorry guys. Okay. So use the user command, and the same user we will use and the whatever it is shown here. So if you see, if you're using user command without any option, this is already created one user. But if you see under home directory, you don't have any home directory created, because user command is not going to create home directory in the Ubuntu by default. So whenever you're using the Ubuntu distribution, you need to explicitly provide that option. So these are the -m option you need to provide to create home directory. Otherwise, instead of user command, use the add user command. So it's going to ask each and every option. Add user, maybe test user. So once you hit enter, it's going to create home directory, and immediately it will ask the password also. So no need to provide the password with the password command here. So everything will be taken care from the add user command here directly. So provide the password here. And some full name. So from which department this user, you can provide all those information under this full name section. So room number and all those things not exactly required. If you want to provide all these the work phone and home phone in this example, then you can provide. If you have other than any information, so provide all those things here. So just press enter and confirm for this user insertion into this Linux machine. So now this user is created. So now if you want to verify this user, you can use ID command. It is going to display what exactly this user is. This is the UID. For each and every user, one UID will be created and one GID as well. So one group will be created with the same name, and one the user is created. So whenever you creating any kind of user in the Linux machine, there are a couple of files are going to update. So some of the people will ask, whenever you create the user, so what are the files are going to update, and where exactly those files. So the three files will be updated /etc. The mainly you can say the password file and the shadow file and the group file. So these three files you can mention. So what exactly password file? So under password file, if you add this information at the end, you can see your user information. The test user, you can see that. This is the line added at the end. So if you're not providing UID information explicitly, you can provide whatever UID you require while creation of this user itself. If you're not providing the type of information, so next available UID will be taken. So for example, up to now, we have the user ID is 1000, and after that Michael is taken 1001. The next user will take next UID, next available number. So if you are creating one more user, so by default it's going to take 1003. So in this way, so you can get the UIDs by default. So some people may require, some people may provide explicitly the UID information. Only -u option is there while creation of this user add -u, provide the UID number. The same UID will be created for the specific user whatever we are providing. And we provided some information for this user, what exactly this user, like the name and kind of things. All those things will be added here. And home directory. So by default, if you are not providing any kind of home directory information, it's going to create under /home. So one username, whatever username is there, one directory will be created under /home. All the home directories will be created for each and every user under /home. So if you want to change this home directory as well, you can change that. But best practice to create all these home directories under /home, so that whenever required to administer all these things, it will be very easy to manage. If it is any kind of system users you are creating, so then depends upon the requirement, you can change the home directory. And finally, the bin bash. This is the shell we are going to get. There are a couple of shells, C shell, the bash shell, sh shell kind of thing. So the bash is the very usable shell, so that you can get some help whenever you don't know any kind of commands. Only just need to provide one or two the letters and press tab 2 times, automatically it will display whatever commands are there. So only that feature is available under bash shell. So if you go for the other different shells, those help you cannot get that. So that is the reason people will mostly like the bash shell here. So the by default it is going to provide. The shell is called a bin bash shell. So whenever user logged into this machine, so these are the default things will be applied for that user. So this is the first file, the password file. Under password file, you can see that username and UID and some name, whatever you provided for this user, you can identify from this information. And the home directory information, where exactly the user is going to log in. Initially, whenever he access this machine, he will be the present directory of this user will be under /home and test user. So from there he can do administration whatever he required. If he have the super user privileges like the sudo privileges, he can do whatever things he required, depends upon the access level. Otherwise, he can manage all the things from the home directory only. And what exactly shell is going to get that the ones who logged into this machine. So if you don't want to provide any kind of login, only one